Aviation scope. The sky isn't the limit, it's just the beginning.
This is African News on Voice of the People Television, where we don't just bring you the news, we bring you Africa's heartbeats, the policies that shapes our world, and the economy that determines our future. African News on Voice of the People Television. Stay with us.
We encourage you to click on the like button and subscribe to our YouTube channel. We are Voice of the People TV. Also follow us on all our social media platforms. We are at VOP TV Live. Visit our website www.vop.ng for fresh and trending news. Also watch us live on SLTV channel 264. VOP TV, Voice of the People Television.
VOP TV. Now you have more than a voice.
Qualities, camera qualities, and then of course, the quality of human beings that I see sometimes on your channel. I talk and get paid, and I look forward to being in your studios.
Oh yes, you are on to Voice of the People TV, live here in Benin City, the cradle of black civilization. What are you waiting for? Tune in, bro.
VOP TV. Now you have more than a voice.
In a world where power shifts with every headlines, news breaks and events happens, we bring you unbiased and explicit information on politics, economy, and state of the nation. We break down the chaos. Facts, not fluff. Truth, not spin. We discuss not just politics, but a glimpse into the future. Join Moses, Chukuma, and Fina on Voice of the People TM. Voice of the People Television. Now you have more than a voice.
Well, hello and welcome to Newshour on Voice of the People TV. I am Vivian Uguche.
And I am Nenna Ndomdioto. Before we begin, kindly visit our website www.vop.ng for fresh and trending news. First, the headlines. Tinubu directs ministers to obtain presidential clearance for escorts.
Also, Nanuga says Tinubu upset over 1.5 billion naira debt owed to cover 2,000 contractors.
ECOWAS to scrap air ticket taxes from January 2026.
Reps summon Cardoso over non-remittance of a 16 trillion naira revenue.
Senator Jarigbe laments condition of Niger Delta.
Also, Adeleke emerges a court party governorship candidate.
On the foreign Saint Trump to intervene as Thailand and Cambodia fighting rages.
Well, in business news, CAC introduces new rules for business name updates.
In sport, CAF announces new format for 2027 AFCON qualification.
Well, in entertainment news, This Is Not a Nollywood Movie premieres in Lagos.
Now the news and details. The growing unease over the federal government's new security directive played out on the Senate floor on Wednesday as the lawmaker representing Bauchi Central, Abdul Ninge, protested the withdrawal of his only police orderly. The aggrieved senator insisted that a measure introduced to free up police personnel for core security duties nationwide must be implemented uniformly across all privileged Nigerians. Ninge told his fellow lawmakers that while his security aid was withdrawn in compliance with a directive issued by the presidency and the Inspector General of Police, several high-profile individuals, including top political actors, business moguls, and entertainers still moved around with full police escort. The directive announced last week is part of President Bola Tinubu's broader push to reposition the Nigeria police force amid worsening insecurity, overstretched manpower, and decades-long misuse of officers for personal protection.
Meanwhile, President Bola Tinubu has directed ministers and senior officials to seek his approval before requesting police escorts for official assignments. Tinubu gave the directive at the Federal Executive Council FEC meeting held at the State House, Abuja. He said security lapses often occur when officers are reassigned without adequate replacement planning, stressing the need for tighter coordination among agencies. He instructed the National Security Advisor and the DSS to review the country's security structure and implement necessary adjustments. Tinubu said the directive must be enforced immediately because of heightened security threats across the country.
In another development, President Bola Tinubu has launched a thorough plan to secure and boost Nigeria's marine and aquatic resources, aiming to make the blue economy a major part of the country's economic growth, creating jobs and ensuring long-term prosperity. The president disclosed this on Wednesday during a presidential parley with participants of Senior Executive Course 47 of the National Institute for Policy and Strategic Studies, NIPSS, at the presidential villa, Abuja. President Tinubu, who was represented by Vice President Kashim Shettima, said his administration is committed to converting Nigeria's maritime potential into sustainable national wealth. According to him, the blue economy offers a strategic pathway to diversify revenue, create employment, and revitalize ecosystems that underpin development. The president lauded the NIPSS study on blue economy and sustainable development in Nigeria, describing it as a timely guide outlining opportunities, challenges, and policy priorities.
Meanwhile, President Bola Tinubu has expressed displeasure over the backlog of debt amounting to about 1.5 billion naira owed to federal contractors. Consequently, the president has set up a high-level committee to resolve the bottlenecks and fund repayments. President Tinubu's displeasure over the indebtedness was disclosed by his special advisor on information and strategy, Bayo Nanuga, while briefing State House correspondents at the end of the Federal Executive Council FEC meeting, presided over by the president at the council chambers, Presidential Villa, Abuja. He said the president was enraged after learning that about 2,000 contractors are owed. Onanuga, who stood in for the Minister of Information and National Orientation, Mohammed Idris, said the president made it clear he is not happy and wants a one-stop solution to the problem.
Away from that, the Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS, has announced plans to abolish air ticket taxes across all airports in the sub-region from January 1, 2026, in a move aimed at significantly reducing airfares and boosting regional connectivity. The decision was disclosed by ECOWAS Director of Transport and Communications, Chris Appiah, during an interview with journalists on the sidelines of the ECOWAS Council of Ministers meeting held on Wednesday in Abuja. According to Appiah, the policy forms part of a broader regional reform package approved by the ECOWAS Authority of Heads of State and Government in December 2024.
In the meantime, the Minister of Aviation and Aerospace Development, Festus Keyamo, has hailed the Ekiti Agro-Allied International Cargo Airport as a landmark achievement, describing it as a new era for aviation development in Nigeria. Keyamo, represented by the Permanent Secretary of the Federal Ministry, Yakubu Adam, spoke during the inaugural commercial flight operations by United Nigeria Airlines on Wednesday. He called the event historic, emphasizing that the airport exemplifies the renewed hope agenda of President Bola Tinubu and reflects the socio-economic potential of Ekiti State. The first commercial flight, UN 0622, landed at the airport from Abuja at 11 a.m. with dignitaries including Governor Biodun Oyebanji, former governors Sheguni, Adeni Adebayo, Ayodele Fayoshi, Kayode Fayemi, and Senate Leader Fayemi Bamidele in attendance.
Senator Jarigbe Agom Jarigbe has described the South-South region as the circulatory system of Nigeria's economy, but said its arteries are clogged with underdevelopment, environmental degradation, economic marginalization, and social unrest. This comes as stakeholders from the region raised fresh concerns over the environmental and economic state of the region on Wednesday. The senator made these remarks at the second edition of Road to South-South, the national convergence of the Renewed Hope agenda, held at the State House Conference Center, Abuja. According to Senator Jarigbe, who represents Cross River North Senatorial District, the South-South centrality to Nigeria's economic survival makes his neglect both untenable and dangerous. He noted with dismay that for decades, the South-South has powered national growth, supplying the oil and gas resources that fuel the Federation, but added that the region's own arteries remain clogged by environmental pollution, economic exclusion, and recurring social unrest.
Well, over now to the Green Chamber, where the House of Representatives has summoned Olayemi Cardoso, Governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, and other relevant agencies to appear before its Public Accounts Committee Tuesday, December 16, to explain the non-remittance of over 5 trillion naira operating surplus and 11 trillion naira government revenue. This is sequel to a motion moved by Bamidele Salam, chairman of the Public Accounts Committee, PAC, during plenary. During the debate, Salam briefed lawmakers on PAC's findings from its investigation into the Auditor General's report for the 2022 financial year and the admission of the remitter revenue collection system by the CBN between March 1, 2015 and April 30, 2016.
The Central Bank of Nigeria Act, the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria 1999 as amended, and other extant fiscal and financial management laws of the Federation. The House also notes that under the Fiscal Responsibility Act 2007, the Central Bank of Nigeria Act 2007, the Finance Act 2020,
Honorable Pondi, Honorable Pondi, Honorable Pondi, please approach the chair.
Subsidiary legislation. The Central Bank of Nigeria is mandated to collect, account for, and remit all federal government revenues through the remitter platform into designated government account in a transparent, efficient manner in line with regulatory standards. Aware that the House of Representatives, through the Public Accounts Committee, is duly empowered by sections 85.5, 88, and 89 of the 1999 Constitution, as well as Order 20, Rule 6 of the Standing Orders of the House of Representatives, 11th edition, to consider the Auditor General's report and to conduct investigations into the general and specific areas of Nigeria's public financial management. Also aware that in the course of ongoing investigation by the Public Accounts Committee into the Auditor General's report for the year 2022 financial year, as well as the administration of the remitter revenue collection system by the Central Bank of Nigeria, covering the period from 1st of March 2015 to the 30th of April 2016, the committee uncovered the following. 1, that the Central Bank has an undisputed liability of 5.2 trillion naira in unpaid operating surpluses due to the federal government of Nigeria for the year ended 2016 to 2020, which has remained unremitted till date.
In the Green Chamber, lawmakers asked the Central Bank of Nigeria, National Microfinance Bank, and the Federal Ministry of Finance to immediately suspend all deductions on COVID-19 intervention loans. In a resolution following a motion of urgent public importance sponsored by the Deputy Chairman of the House Committee on Finance, Saidu Abdullahi, the House asked the relevant agencies of government to put into consideration the inability of Nigerians to pay back the loan due to current harsh economic conditions.
The world experienced a major pandemic, COVID-19, that led to the closure of the global economy. And this had negative impact on economic activities and even on low-income earners. Mr. Speaker, as a result, government across the globe came up with stimulus packages in order to sustain livelihoods and lives of the vulnerable groups. Unfortunately, recovery across the globe has not been even, and it's even more worse in the case of our country because of the twin reforms embarked upon by this current administration at the onset of the administration. As a result, it has become almost impossible for Nigerians to meet up with the repayment commitment. So I'm coming up with a motion this morning under Order 805 to look at the urgent need to grant total waiver on outstanding COVID-19 survival loans for vulnerable Nigerian households and micro businesses and to restructure the SME component of the facility. Mr. Speaker, I also crave the indulgence of the House to suspend all relevant rules so that the motion will be taken this morning under the specified rule. As so submit, Mr. Speaker.
The Federal Inland Revenue Service has signed a landmark cooperation pact with France, aimed at modernizing Nigeria's tax administration through digital transformation, capacity development, and improved cross-border enforcement. FIRS Chairman Zach Adedeji and the French ambassador to Nigeria, Marc von Berstier, signed the Memorandum of Understanding on behalf of both countries. The disclosure was contained in a statement issued by his special advisor and media, Dari Adekombi, on Wednesday. Queen's College Lagos gets solar boost from alumni group. The agreement signed at the French Embassy in Abuja brings FIRS into a formal working partnership with France Tax Authority. Direction des Finances Publiques, one of Europe's most technological advanced revenue agencies. Adedeji said the partnership symbolizes a shared ambition to build stronger, more resilient, and forward-looking tax systems at a time global public finance is being reshaped by technology, artificial intelligence, and cross-border digital commerce. The agreement comes barely weeks before the formal transition into the Nigeria Revenue Service by January 2026.
Well, politics now. Osun State Governor Ademola Adeleke has emerged as the governorship candidate of the Accord Party for next year's governorship election. Adeleke joined the party on Tuesday evening after leaving the People's Democratic Party, citing crisis at the ground for his resignation. A statement issued by the chairman of Accord Screening Committee, Elder Ibe Thangard, on Wednesday morning disclosed that the governor has been cleared as the sole candidate of the party. Thangard, who is also the party's national organizing secretary, said the governor fulfilled all the requisite requirements for nomination and participation at the primary. Adeleke was also presented with a certificate of clearance by the committee chairman, who described him as a worthy gubernatorial aspirant of the party. Responding, Governor Adeleke expressed appreciation to the screening committee and the entire party leadership, noting his preparedness to lead the party to victory in 2026.
Still talking politics, President Bola Tinubu urged governorship aspirants of the All Progressive Congress, APC, to prioritize unity and consensus building ahead of the party's December 13 primary election in 2026. The president made the appeal when he met with the aspirants at the State House Abuja on Monday night. The Osun State governorship aspirants who attended the meeting with the president include former Deputy Governor Benedict Oluboyega Alabi, Dotun Babayemi Akin Ogunbiyi, Senator Babajide Omoworare, among others. While emphasizing the importance of party supremacy, President Tinubu urged the aspirants to allow the party to choose its flag bearer, noting that only the party can benefit from electoral victory.
Well, joining us virtually to analyze these stories is public affairs analyst Francis Chilaka. Francis, it's always a pleasure to have you join us. Welcome aboard. All right. So, the growing unease over the federal government's new security directive played out on the Senate floor on Wednesday as the lawmaker representing Bauchi Central, Abdul Ninge, protested the withdrawal of his only police orderly. Now, Francis, this is coming on the heels of a story that's gone viral where Nobel laureate Professor Wole Soyinka had said that the first son, or should I just call him his name, Tinubu, that his security escort is excessive. So the Senate is crying foul, but the president is insisting that police escorts must be withdrawn from VIPs. What's your take?
If you ask me, I need to be very honest and sincere. That directive, I believe, is something that should be followed to the letter. You can't have a country where we have bandits, we have terrorists, we have armed robbers, we have kidnappers running free, dealing with the citizens, and yet you have the few number of policemen we have protecting VIPs. I think that, yes, ideally, yes, VIPs need protection, but they should source for it. They should pay for it. They should be able to ask the government to equip the Nigerian Defense Corps. They should also ask the government to allow some private security organizations to carry arms. I mean, that's the way to go about it. So, yes, it's a good thing that policemen will be withdrawn, but withdrawing them from VIPs is not just where it ends. You have a lot of policemen still, mobile policemen to be precise, who are busy escorting trucks carrying minerals for export from all the way from the north. For some Chinese companies, we still don't saw them today. We have a lot of policemen who are guarding office premises, guarding banks. So we need to be very clear of what we want and not just make something ambiguous that makes it difficult for people to, follow suit. Talking about the son of the president, I believe that it's uncalled for. This is not the first time in the history of Nigeria that we're having a president that has a son or has a daughter. But the way it is, we seem to have an office of the wife of the president, office of the son of the president, office of the daughter of the president. I mean, it's more like a family business. That's what we're running in Nigeria today. I totally agree with Senator Ningi. Whatever you're doing, let it go around so that we know that everybody, Nigerians those in authority, those VIPs will feel what the ordinary Nigerians are feeling when they're walking on the streets without anybody to protect them. So I totally agree with him that it is something that should be done across board.
Okay, well, President Bola Tinubu has actually asked them that ministers and senior officials, he has asked them to seek his approval before requesting police escorts for official assignment. Do you think that this is the way to go? That's in one hand. And on the other hand is, I'm going to take you back to what you talked about, Sheyi Tinubu. Does it mean that the president or the president's son or the president's family, are they not entitled to a measure of security or to a form of security?
Okay, let me start from where you stopped. You're talking about the measure of security that the president's son need and and the first family needs. Yes, they should have some level of security. But for somebody like Wole Soyinka, who we know has been hobnobbing with this administration, to come out and speak out, it means that what he saw was in excess. What he saw was in excess. It's like, like he said in his language, like the son of the president is being protected by a battalion. So we didn't even need the president to get soldiers from different barracks to go to Benin Republic. He could have just asked his son to send his bodyguards to go to Benin Republic. But the point is this. The point is, whatever you do in excess, it becomes an abuse. And that is the point he was trying to make, and that's the point every Nigerian is trying to make. if there's an abuse, and that abuse is that the VIPs, the government officials, they have abused the privilege of using the Nigerian policemen. And so that abuse needs to stop. Now, the president asking ministers to seek for direct permission is another way to say, well, some people are exempted. But he doesn't want to come out to say it, because at the end of the day, everybody will apply. And at the end, who will you say no to? Who will you say yes to? So I think if Mr. President wants to stop it, let him stop it. And then, other forms of protection should be organized and put in place for those who need it.
Francis, I think you hit the nail on the head when you said that the president saying that if you need security, you should apply for it, means actually most people are going to go for it the way it stands. But there's also something he said when he was giving this directive, that after these police or the police officers are withdrawn, there must be some form of replacement. The president now went on to say that forest guards, as well as civil defense, should be armed so that they can also step up the plate. What do you make of this?
We've been talking about this forest guard and forest. With all the forest guards you have, how many of these bandits, how many of these terrorists have they been able to neutralize? For me, I think that what the government should do is to allow private security companies that are competent, that are well, registered to bear arms. So they know that they are there to give VIP treatment, VIP protection to those who need it. By the time you begin to involve government agencies, you're going to water down the whole thing. At the end of the day, you will not even know who is a policeman and who is not. Let me tell you this. This afternoon, we saw a lot of policemen escorting some people, but they were not wearing uniform. But we know them because we've always seen them. We know that they're policemen. And the funny thing is that it's so shameful that the IG of police does not have a leash on his men. He doesn't even know how many of his men are assigned to VIPs. The other day he talked about whether 2,000 or 4,000 or so, but there are more of them. And the unfortunate thing also is the fact that the rank and file are not following instructions. Just like when the IG will come and say, no roadblocks, no checkpoints. The checkpoints are still there. So there is a problem with the Nigerian police. And that problem is following directives. I don't see why they need to set up a special team that will be going about arresting those who have refused to report back to base. It simply shows that the Nigerian police do not even have a database of those in their employment.
Okay, let me take you to away from that. Let's move on to this displeasure that the president has expressed over the backlog of debt amounting about 1.5 billion naira owed federal contractors. And one would ask, how did we get to this point? How would a set of persons actually do or carry out a level of or carry out some kinds of work and you don't pay them? What do you make of this? Of course, the president has expressed his displeasure and he's saying something needs to be done about this.
I'm even not sure what to say to Mr. President. Am I disappointed? Or do I feel that it's more like a nonchalant attitude? How can a president who sits on everything begin to show displeasure that he doesn't know that contractors have not been paid? I mean, it's an aberration. It shows lack of ability to handle issues. And unfortunately, in this country, when things like this happen, nobody's held responsible, nobody gets queried, nobody gets sacked. So if you're owing this much to contractors, where is the money? So we can't just be saying that you're owing them, but where is the money? Is the money not appropriated? If the money has been appropriated, why have they not been paid? Who is responsible for paying them? That person ordinarily should be sacked because it's an embarrassment to the government. So, and then for contractors, I don't understand. That's why you have too many abandoned contracts. Because once they mobilize you, you begin to work, and then getting other payments become a problem. So I thought that this government had a plan in place on how to pay contractors even before the demand for the money. Once they have done certain percentage, as agreed in the agreement, they get paid. In Nigeria, it's a country where pensioners are not paid, contractors are not paid, doctors are not paid, teachers are not. nobody gets paid. Until people protest, that is the only time you see government coming down to pay them. I mean, this is a no. This is absolutely unacceptable in every respect. It's unacceptable. Government must be able to live up to its obligation of discharging its responsibility towards the contractors as well as towards the people.
All right. It's a safe place for us to let that particular topic lie, right? Let's move on to this other story that's making the rounds. Senator Jaribe Agom has described the South-South region as a circulatory system of Nigeria's economy, but said its arteries are clogged with underdevelopment, environmental degradation, economic marginalization, and social unrest. Francis, case in point, Ogoni. During the last administration, I'm talking about President Tinubu's predecessor, there was so much fanfare over the remediation project of Ogoni, talking about the Ogoni cleanup. But not too long ago, we saw the residents come out to say, look, nothing is happening, and that the president had also pardoned some people, you know, talking about the Ogoni 9 and all of that, but that the residents are still suffering. So what do you make of all of this?
Much as we want to blame the federal government, we'll start from the state and the local government. The state has a lot of money coming to them. What are they doing with it? When the late president, Buhari, talked about, you know, the cleaning of Ogoni land, it was a fun fair. What happened thereafter? Who do we hold responsible? Do we hold the state governor responsible? Or do we hold the indigents? Or do we hold the contractors responsible? Who and who were awarded contracts? Who and who are held responsible for monitoring the contracts, whether they're executed or not? So it's neither here nor there. But unfortunately, this is Nigeria where accountability, transparency does not hold sway. I just believe that the people of the Niger Delta were just used by the last administration to win an election. And they've been used again to win an election. So it's always when the elections are approaching that you begin to hear of agitations, and then you begin to hear government saying, oh, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. The people must stand their grounds and hold government accountable. It starts from the local government chairman, down to the state governor, down to the presidency. They have their senators, they have their House of Representative members. Hold every one of them responsible. Look at what Natasha is doing in her constituency. Why are other senators not doing the same? Why are they not copying the good things she's doing? So it simply shows you that a lot of these people, they just make noise when the elections are approaching or when they need some form of pat on the back from government, you know, largesse. That's when they make noise. But in the real sense of it, how many of these representatives, how many of these senators are really living with the people? Just like in most local governments, the local government chairmen are not living with the people. They are living far from the people. So that's the problem. It's a problem where people only begin to make noise when the elections are approaching.
Okay, let's move away from that. The House of Representatives has summoned Olayemi Cardoso, the governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, and other relevant agencies to appear before it, and of course to explain the non-remittance of over 5 trillion naira operating surplus and 11 trillion naira government revenue. What do you make of this? What systematic flaws would have led to such a huge amount?
Nigeria is a seasonal theater where you have different movies coming off every now and then, and nothing happens. Is this the first time the House is summoning MDAs? This is not the first time. They've done that with the NNPC. What came out of it? They've done that with the MDs of banks. What came out of it? They've done that with some ministries. What came out of it? So sometimes I just think that the honorable members, when they do this, it's either they feel shortchanged or they just want a situation where they want to benefit from whatever funds they believe has been looted. You have never come back to Nigerians to tell us that, oh, we called the chairman, the MD of NNPC to render an account, and he has rendered the account, and this is evidence that this money has gotten back into the Federation account. This call will just be like any other call. The man may not, the CBN governor may even decide not to honor it, and nothing will happen. So that is the situation we have found ourselves in this country. Every now and then, if you check, there are litany of, calls, summons by this honorable, by this House of Rep, this 10th Assembly. They have summoned so many of these people. Most of them don't appear, and the case just dies out. So we do not have a system that tracks, a system that, gives a feedback, and a system that punishes. People don't get punished for the things they do, so they get away with it. And then you're putting it in the news as if you're doing something nobody has done before. At the end of the day, we don't even know how the thing will end, because they will never come back to the Nigerian people to tell the Nigerian people, we summoned the CBN governor. This is what he said. This is what transpired. This is what, no, they will never do that. So they should just keep, they just keep playing around with Nigerians as if Nigerians don't matter. The only time you see them summon themselves is when they want to share the loot they have taken from the Nigerian people.
Well, Francis, let me take you to Osun State quickly. Last week, Governor Ademola Adeleke had publicly announced his resignation from the PDP. And he said on the 13th of December was when he was going to announce to Nigerians the party he was going to land in. But all of a sudden yesterday, he declared that it was the Accord Party. Now, I don't know if you heard of the exchange he had with the First Lady over the weekend, where she bagged the chieftaincy title. Oni gave her a chieftaincy title. The Governor Adeleke was there, and he was singing when he's supposed to have given a speech. And she told him, Stanley, I'm giving you 5 minutes to wrap this up, or I'll put off the mic. On a lighter note, do you think that is what must have precipitated his announcement of the Accord Party being the party for him? Or do you think that is just conspiracy theory? And then, on a more serious note, he has emerged as the governorship candidate of the Accord Party for the next year's governorship election. What's your take?
Well, honestly speaking, I did not expect him to go to APC because already APC is filled up. And it's a good step he has taken, going to Accord Party. I believe that he will do better in Accord Party. Now, coming back to what transpired between the wife of the president, and it simply shows you that power corrupts, absolute power corrupts, absolutely. I think the wife of the president is overstepping her bounds. She doesn't realize that Nigerians did not vote the office of the wife of the president. The Constitution of Nigeria does not recognize the office of the wife of the president. We voted, or Nigerians, I wouldn't say we, Nigerians voted Bola Ahmed Tinubu as their president and not Remi Tinubu as the wife of the president. So I think she has overstepped her bounds, and I think it is high time she, retraces her step and realizes that we're running a democracy in Nigeria and not a dictatorship. Also, this, as I talk to her, as I tell her, I'm also telling the son the same thing. The son needs to slow down. We've had other presidents who had sons, who had daughters. We didn't hear about them. They didn't bother us. We didn't bother them. So this President Bola Ahmed Tinubu needs to call his house to order. He needs to call his family to order. Once more, I want to congratulate Adeleke for making that move. It was a fast move, and it was necessary. That is politics for you. If one door doesn't close, another door will not open. So congratulations to him. I wish him all the best, that's all.
Okay, thank you very much, Francis, for being a part of News Hour. Thank you for your intelligent analysis.
You're welcome.
Okay, we'll take a break, and when we return, we'll bring you more stories. Just stay with us.
Welcome back, everyone. And now the Socioeconomic Rights and Accountability Project and the Nigerian Guild of Editors are calling on the federal government to release all persons detained for peaceful expression as the world marks Human Rights Day 2025. They also want an end to the intimidation and harassment of journalists. Both groups made a call at a joint news conference in Ikeja. The NGE General Secretary, Onoha Uke, and SERAP's Deputy Director, Kolawole Oluwadari, addressed the briefing. The news conference followed an interactive session on strategies and legal tools to protect civic space and media independence in Nigeria. SERAP and the NGE warned of rising attacks on media professionals, noting that 56 journalists were assaulted or arrested in August 2024 alone, while covering demonstrations nationwide. The groups also urged authorities to stop using repressive laws, including the Cybercrimes Act and criminal and penal codes, to target journalists and critics.
We now move on to Edo State, where civil society organizations took to the streets of Benin City in commemoration of Human Rights Day, engaging residents in raising awareness on the importance of protecting and upholding their fundamental rights. Correspondent Rhoda Johnny tells us more.
Edo civil society organizations took to the streets in commemoration of Human Rights Day, starting from the Masses House in Benin City and handing out flyers to people walking and driving before proceeding to Saloon Market to sensitize traders and shoppers on their rights. The outreach focused on this year's theme, Know Your Fundamental Rights, aimed at educating citizens about the freedoms and protections guaranteed under the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. Organizers explained the importance of being aware of one's rights, particularly in areas such as fair treatment, freedom of expression, and access to justice.
The essence today, we will say that we are out here today to also speak to the government of Edo State, particularly Governor Monday Okpebholo, using the World Human Rights Day as a speaking point, that the level of insecurity in Nigeria is very, very bad. We are very scared now more than ever. We have heard rumors of the bandits or the terrorists already been in our bushes, and we think that the governor should wake up to his responsibility to galvanize and place high incentive on the vigilante, the one they call Edo State Security Network, so that these guys can be on salaries and they can be well equipped with good arms and ammunition, so that they can be able to comb our bushes and our environment to scare away, because we cannot say to apprehend, to scare away and chase away all those bandits and terrorists that are already traveling from the north to the southern side of Nigeria.
We are in a country where human rights is not respected at all, but it took knowledge, that takes us knowledge to this level that we are now. And that's why we are today also to sensitize our people, because it's only when you are aware of your rights you'll be able to stand for it. So the essence for this march is to call Edo people and Nigeria at large to understand that they have a right, a constitutional right, that they can at any time demand for when necessary.
We are out here today to sensitize the public about knowing their rights as a woman, as a man, as children, as youths. We are trying to liberate our citizens from our oppressors. So that's why we are out today, to actually enlighten people on what it takes to know your rights.
At Uselu Market, flyers were handed to traders and shoppers, while interactive discussions helped clarify common misconceptions about citizens' rights. The campaign also highlighted the role of civic engagement in fostering a peaceful and inclusive society. In Benin, Rhoda Johnny, VOP TV News.
Rhoda, thank you. On the foreign scene now, Thailand and Cambodia traded accusations of targeting civilians in artillery and rocket attacks on Wednesday, as US President Donald Trump said he would try to intervene to stop the fighting and salvage a ceasefire he brokered earlier this year. Clashes raged at over a dozen locations along their 817-kilometer border in some of the most intense of fighting since a 5-day battle in July, which Trump had stopped with calls to both leaders to hold their worst conflict in recent history. Trump, at a rally in Pennsylvania late on Tuesday, said he will make a call to try stopping the renewed hostilities, regretting that the Cambodia-Thailand fighting had started up again. However, Thailand's army said it wants to cripple Cambodia's military capabilities, with Prime Minister Anutin Charnvirakul vowing that operations would not stop. Asked about Trump's remarks, he said that though other national leaders may have good intentions in wanting peace, there must be proper appointment and agreed talking points.
In another development, China and Brazil have begun building a joint laboratory for space technologies, deepening scientific ties as the two countries push ahead with a major telescope project in South America. According to Chinese state-owned defense electronics firm CETC, its Network Communications Research Institute signed an agreement with Brazil's Federal University of Campina Grande and the Federal University of Paraíba to establish the China-Brazil Joint Laboratory for Radio Astronomy Technology. The growing cooperation contrasts with recent United States pressure in Latin American countries to cut or minimize ties with China, including in space. Two Chinese telescope projects in Chile and Argentina have been frozen since U.S. President Donald Trump returned to the White House, as leaders in the region seek to curry favor and avoid punishing tariff rates. U.S. officials have described the Chinese telescopes as tools that Beijing could use to increase surveillance capabilities over American soil and Washington's activities in the region it considers crucial for homeland defense.
Well, in business news, the Corporate Affairs Commission has announced new mandatory requirements for all business name online update requests. In a notice posted on its official X handle, the CAC said that effective immediately, every update request must include the proprietor's date of birth, a registered office email, the proprietor's email, a phone number for the registered address of proprietor, and a valid means of identification. The Commission says the additional details are needed to ensure smoother processing of update requests.
We now move on to sports. The Confederation of African Football, CAF, has unveiled a new format for the 2027 African Cup of Nations qualification process. According to reports, the qualification process will feature 13 groups of 4 teams each, with the top team in each group securing direct qualification alongside the 3 best runners-up. The remaining 10 teams will enter a playoff mini-tournament, with the 5 winners securing the final spot in the 24-team lineup. The 3 host nations, Kenya, Tanzania, and Uganda, have already qualified automatically. The official draw is scheduled for December 19, 2025 in Rabat, Morocco, with matches set to take place in March, September, and October 2026. The playoffs will be held in November 2026, and the tournament is set to run from June 19 to July 18, 2027, across multiple cities in the host countries.
Well, we'll take a break now. When we come back, we will do entertainment news. Stay with us. Welcome back, everyone. Entertainment news now. The Lagos creative scene came alive as award-winning actor and filmmaker Wale Ojo premiered his latest project. This is not a Nollywood movie. The event drew filmmakers, culture enthusiasts, and supporters of new wave African cinema all gathered to witness the bold, genre-defined production. Our correspondent Precious Agumanu brings you the highlights from the red carpet.
Lagos premiere of This Is Not a Nollywood Movie, a film already generating conversation for its daring title and unconventional storytelling. Directed by celebrated actor Wale Ojo, the project challenges the boundaries of traditional Nigerian filmmaking, blending satire, social commentary, and experimental visual. Guests arrived in style as filmmakers, influencers, and film lovers shared their excitement for a movie that promises to push the conversation on what Nigerian cinema can become. Backed by a team of vibrant creative, Wale Ojo says the film aims to spotlight identity, art, and the evolution of African stories beyond stereotypes.
Man, I like the name. Yeah. This is not a Nollywood movie. I'm not expecting anything Nollywood. I'm expecting extra.
To be candid, I know with the lineup of actors here, we're about to see something great. So I'm here to have fun, see a great film, to relax, and support a friend.
Just expect that it's not a Nollywood movie first. Expect to be entertained. Expect to laugh. Expect to dance while watching. Trust me, it's a totally different movie from the usual.
They've told us already it's not a Nollywood movie. So let's see if we're going Hollywood, Bollywood, or Firewood.
I think it's going to be fantastic, you know, like obviously Boma produced it. Wale Ojo is amazing. Like Breath of Life is one of my favorite Nigerian movies ever. So like, yeah, man, this is not a Nollywood movie. I'm expecting greatness.
I'm expecting something out of the box. Like the name says, this is not a Nollywood movie. So I'm expecting something out of the norms.
From laughter to applause, the audience reaction inside the screen hall left no doubt. This is a film created to challenge norms and spark deeper reflection among viewers. As the credits roll, many describe the movie as bold, experimental, and a cinematic risk worth taking. I am Precious Agumano for Voice of the People TV.
Precious, that was fantastic. Thank you. And that wraps it up for us in News Hour. But before we go, a quick look at the headlines. We told you that President Tinubu has directed ministers to obtain presidential clearance for escorts.
Also, Onanuga says Tinubu upset over 1.5 billion naira debt owed to over 2,000 contractors.
Also, ECO was to scrap air ticket taxes from January 2026.
Reps summoned Cardoso over non-remittance of 16 trillion naira revenue.
Senator Jaribe laments condition of Niger Delta.
Adeleke emerges Accord Party governorship candidate.
Well, on the foreign scene, Trump to intervene as Thailand-Cambodia fighting rages.
In business, CAC introduces new rules for business name updates.
Well, in sports news, CAF, I beg your pardon, announces a new format for 2027 African qualification.
In entertainment, this is not a Nollywood movie premieres in Lagos.
Do well to subscribe to our YouTube channel. On YouTube, we are Voice of the People TV, and other social media platforms, we are at VOP TV Live. If you witness news happening near you, we want to hear from you. Send your eyewitness reports, event coverage requests, photos, or videos directly via WhatsApp to 0814-606-4057. You can also reach our newsroom by email at news@vop.ng. I am Vivian Oguche.
And I am Nenna Ndomdioto. Thank you for watching.
Do you want your voice to be heard? Do you know that you matter in the scheme of things? The People's Voice, the show where ordinary citizens take center stage as we discuss the biggest stories that affect you and I. With you in mind, we facilitate lively discussions, debates, and interviews on the topics that matter most to you and I. From social justice to economic empowerment, education to healthcare, governance, and more. Tackling tough topics and amplifying your voice. Join the conversation and make your voice count. The People's Voice. Make your voice count.
2564 is coming up on Burning 9, right?
2564 Atlantic Tower.
What happens in the hush behind hangar doors? Who signs the papers that gamble with lives? Which truths were grounded before they even ever had wings? If you've ever buckled a seatbelt at 30,000 feet, if you've ever stared out of that tiny window and wondered who's really in control of the skies, it isn't just flight, it's power, it's politics, it's pressure sealed in steel. We're peeling back the clouds from runway risks to sky-high secrets. We're diving deep where most dare not to look. Aviation Scope, every Sunday at 7 p.m. only on Voice of the People TV. We don't just report, we reveal. We don't just ask, we uncover. Because when it comes to the skies, ignorance is turbulence. Aviation Scope, the sky isn't the limit, it's just the beginning.
Hello there, my name is Damilola Ogunsi, also known as the Goldfish.
Hi, my name is Chiki Bright Emmanuel. I'm an actor and a filmmaker.
Hello peeps, my name is Yomi E. Adejimo.
Hi everyone, I'm Paul Utomi.
Hi everyone, my name is Stacey Benjamin and this is Voice of the People TV.
I need you to keep it locked to VOP TV. See, I'm looking for good entertainment. You want to get good movies, good music, politics, talk shows, sports and entertainment. You really want a channel that gives you everything you need without you having to run around. VOP is where you are. That's Voice of the People.
If you're not listening to this, you're not one of us. And you deserve to be killed. Scrap chat. Don't be killed, but watch it. Or I'll find you. And I want you.
And you are locked on VOP TV. Don't go nowhere. This is where the juice is. This is where all you need for entertainment, politics, movies, and whatnot.
And keep watching VOP TV.
So keep it locked because I'm locked already, man, and it's money back guarantee. So you're gonna have a good time because I do.
And please keep watching VOP TV.
I won't want you actually. I beg you, subscribe, watch it. If not, whatever you see.
You better not touch that dial because VOP is the plot.
My name is Tao Familoni and here's to VOP TV. Keep watching, stay tuned, do not touch that dial.
Arararara, my name is Made Kuti and you're watching VOP TV. Keep watching.
Welcome, my name is Zika Davis. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, boys, viewers, everybody, boys and girls. This is VOP TV. Do you know what that means? Voice of the People TV. You don't have a voice, don't come here. You better make sure your voice is heard.
The red carpets, awards, the razzmatazz, music, fashion, interviews, and more. Spotlight on Voice of the People television. Let's feed you with all the juicy stories in the global entertainment space, bringing you the glitz and glamour as it is hot. Stay tuned to Spotlight, 1 p.m. Monday to Friday. Spotlight on VOP TV. Entertainment like never before.
My name is Esther. They call me the Oga of them are the general overseer of them all. Every man, every woman has got a voice where integrity is the volume. So this is Voice of the People's TV. Voice of the People's TV. So this is the people's voice. And the people's voice is the voice of God. That's the voice populi in Latin. The people's voice is the voice of God. So keep watching Voice of the People. In fact, my name is Voice of the People. Keep watching MC Ado Pikin.
Hi guys, my name is Kagan. I am Nigeria's biggest tech content creator, and I just wanted to give a quick shout out to Voice of the People TV. Keep watching, enjoy, and you're welcome.
My name is Naim Sialamano, the city call me Enjoyment Landlord. It's VOP TV. Keep watching VOP TV.